Hi, I'm Judith Monroe, and this is my studio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly put hanging hardware on the back of your artwork. The first thing I want to show you is all of the things that you're going to need. So this is a piece of artwork I just finished, and I need to put hanging hardware on the back of it. I'll show you the back in a minute. The things that are going to help me with that, first of all, are the proper hanging hardware. So these are D-rings and screws. This is absolutely the best way to put wire on the back of a frame, a wood panel, a piece of canvas, anything like that you're going to be putting a wire on the back. This is the best thing. I know a lot of people use little eye screws. Those are honestly harder to install, and they just are not as nice. They don't look as professional. This is the best stuff. And then this is hanging wire. You can see I got this from, let's see, framingsupplies-shop.com. No, they didn't pay me. They had no idea. But this is just wire because I use a ton of it. And I imagine it has a rating on it. It's a 5. That's the size. This is a good size. It'll hold the biggest pieces I do generally are 3 foot by 4 foot wood panels, and those are not super light, but they're not super heavy. And this is also coated wire, so it's a lot easier to handle. It's a lot easier to work with. I get these by the gross, probably from that same place. And this, but you can get these things in smaller quantities at hardware stores as well. You don't have to get a ton of them. The other thing is a drill with a bit that's just a little bit smaller around than your screws, because we're going to drill pilot holes, something to measure with, a pencil to mark with, pliers, and wire cutters. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is decide where I want to attach this wire. So I flipped it around, so this is the top of my artwork, and I want to place that wire about 1/4 of the way down from the top. So this piece is a 40-inch piece, which makes 1/4 of that really easy. So I'm just going to measure 10 inches down, and this is a wood panel, so it's nice and sturdy and easy to work with. But I've just marked 10 inches down on this side, and I'll mark 10 inches down on that side. So now that I've marked how far down, I also want to make sure I mark where I want to put my pilot hole, and so I'm just going to use this to lay it over here and mark it in the middle there. So I'm going to let you see that a little closer. I just hold this to the position it's going to be at and do a little crosshatch. So now that spot is going to be where I put my pilot hole. Quick and easy. I just push it in about the same length that I know that the screw is going to be, the length of the screw. I also want to make sure, one thing that I always want to make sure is that my screw is not longer than the side is deep. Not usually a big deal with my 1.5-inch deep panels, but sometimes on the back of a frame that can be really important. So you do want to make sure before you do it that your screw is not too deep for whatever you're putting your mounting wire, your hanging wire on. I also put a pilot hole on the other side, and I forgot my screwdriver. Screwdriver is helpful too, or you can use the drill with the screw thing in it. I always put a pilot hole in first because depending on the wood that is the frame for my canvas, or on the frame, or my wood panel is made out of, if I don't do a pilot hole first, I can split the wood, and let's just say, been there, done that, and that really sucks. So I just always put a pilot hole in first. And now I've got my D-ring in there, and I want it nice and snug. It can move a little, but generally snug. Now I want to cut the wire for the width of my piece, and I want my wire to actually be pretty straight across. I know a lot of people, a lot of artists like make it go up a bit, and there's really no reason for that. It uses more wire, and it causes there to be more slack when you're hanging the piece on a wall. So a lot of times that's not desirable. So I just give myself, maybe 6 inches beyond either side and cut it. And then I'm going to put the wire in a basic position. And I'm going to do a very special knot that a framer taught me for tying this on either side. So this knot is actually fairly simple, but it's not typical. So you can see I just have it bent around here, and I take the short loose end, I put it snugly under the wire, and then I lead it back in to the D-ring, and then above the under loop, and then I'm pulling this all the way tightly through, which is where my pliers can be really helpful, is to pull that tight sometimes. I've got it pretty tight right now, but that works. And then to finish it, I'm simply going to wrap this around nice and tight, which is harder when the first side, when the other side isn't secured completely yet. But it's just a nice, simple, and this is where having the coated wire so much easier. Then I'm not tearing my fingers up. So it's a nice, well finished side. I'll show you that again. So here's that knot one more time. It comes from underneath up through the top, under, through, and parallel to the wire that's already there, pulled nice and tight, and then wrapped. This leaves you a very professional, totally secure knot. These knots, you don't have to tie 100 square knots and hope that the silly thing doesn't come loose. I know a lot of artists, and certainly before I was taught, I had no idea how to do this. But this is really, you can see, quick and easy and effective, and it stays, totally stays. So now you can see my wire is fairly taut, not too taut. It'll also stretch as the weight of the piece sits, and it'll give it just enough play so that you can hang it on a wall, but it'll still be snug and it won't do strange things. That's it. Of course, I still have to sign and title the piece on the back, but that's how quick and easy it is to put professional quality hanging hardware on the back of your artwork. I hope you enjoyed learning how to properly put professional hanging hardware on the back of your artwork. No matter who you're doing it for, yourself or a friend, a client or a gallery, I'm sure they would appreciate that you went to the extra effort to do a really good job. As always, I would really appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and comment. Bye.